They fed me expired food while pregnant beggars can't be choosers, said my in-laws. The smell hit me before I even opened the container. Sour, wrong, unmistakably rotten. But I was 7 months pregnant, starving, and this was all I'd been given for dinner. Again. Eat up, Caitlin. My mother-in-law Grace called out from the dining room where she, my father-in-law Richard, and my husband Kevin were enjoying their herb-crusted salmon. Beggars can't be choosers. I stared at the grey meat swimming in congealed fat, the expiration date on the container clearly showing it was 2 weeks old. My stomach churned, not from morning sickness this time, but from revulsion. This is expired, I said quietly, carrying the container to the dining room doorway. Richard didn't even look up from his perfectly plated meal. Food doesn't really expire. Those dates are just suggestions. In my day, we didn't waste anything. Besides, Grace added, cutting into her fresh asparagus, it's not like you're contributing to the grocery budget. Kevin pays for everything while you sit around getting fat. I looked at my husband, searching for any sign of the man who'd promised to cherish me. Kevin kept his eyes on his plate, methodically eating his dinner as if I hadn't spoken. I'm pregnant, I said, my voice shaking. The baby needs proper nutrition. The baby needs a mother who isn't a financial burden, Grace interrupted. Maybe if you hadn't quit your job, you'd be eating at the table with us. I hadn't quit. I'd been put on bed rest after complications at 20 weeks. The doctor's orders were strict, no stress, no standing for long periods, careful monitoring of my diet. Instead, I was living in my in-laws' house because Kevin had convinced me to sell our apartment to save money for the baby, then moved us into his parents' basement suite with promises it would only be temporary. That was 4 months ago. There's fresh food in the refrigerator. I tried one more time. I saw the salmon. That's for contributing members of the household, Richard said firmly. You'll eat what you're given or nothing at all. I went back to the basement, to the cramped suite that smelled of mold and disappointment. The mini-fridge they'd generously provided was stocked with their cast-offs, expired yogurt, brown lettuce, milk that had turned chunky. Every meal was a game of Russian roulette with food poisoning. My phone buzzed with a text from my sister Sarah. How are you? Is the baby okay? I started to type the truth, then deleted it. How could I explain that the successful restaurant owners everyone admired were deliberately feeding their pregnant daughter-in-law spoiled food? Who would believe that Kevin, the man who'd won awards for his restaurant management, watched it happen without a word? The Rosewood Bistro, their upscale restaurant, was Richard and Grace's pride, a place where they served $200 tasting menus to the city's elite. Kevin was the general manager, groomed to take over the family empire. The irony of being starved while living with people who owned a restaurant wasn't lost on me. That night, I woke up violently ill. The expired meat had done its damage. Kevin found me on the bathroom floor at 3 a.m., barely conscious. We need to go to the hospital, I gasped between contractions. Something's wrong with the baby. You're being dramatic, he said, but something in my face must have convinced him because he finally drove me to the ER. The doctors were horrified. Severe dehydration, food poisoning, and I'd started having premature contractions. They managed to stop them, but the attending physician, Dr. Hernandez, had questions. What have you been eating? She asked, reviewing my blood work. Your nutrient levels are dangerously low, and there are clear signs of repeated foodborne illness. I glanced at Kevin, who was texting on his phone, not even listening. I eat what I'm given, I said carefully. Dr. Hernandez's eyes sharpened. She asked Kevin to step out for a moment, then closed the door. Caitlin, I need you to be honest with me. Are you being denied proper food? The dam broke. I told her everything. The expired food, the moldy bread, the sour milk, watching them eat fresh meals while I was given scraps. Her expression grew increasingly grim. This is abuse, she said flatly. Nutritional deprivation during pregnancy is serious. Do you have anywhere else to go? I shook my head. I'd used my savings for the baby preparations. My parents lived across the country. Sarah was struggling financially herself. Dr. Hernandez made notes in my chart. I'm documenting everything, and I'm prescribing specific dietary requirements that must be followed. She looked at me intently. I'm also notifying a social worker. This is not okay. When Kevin returned, Dr. Hernandez handed him papers. Your wife requires immediate dietary changes. She needs fresh, properly stored food. Any deviation could result in premature birth or worse. Kevin nodded absently, and I knew nothing would change. I was right. The next evening, Grace handed me a container of leftover soup. But the doctor said, I began. The doctor doesn't pay for groceries, she snapped. Eat it or don't. The soup was slimy, with chunks of something unidentifiable floating in it. I photographed it, then photographed the fresh beef Wellington they were eating upstairs. I'd started documenting everything on my phone, though I didn't know what I'd do with it. 2 weeks later, salvation came from an unexpected source. I was sitting in the basement, trying to keep down some crackers I'd managed to buy with coins I'd found in the couch, when I heard unfamiliar voices upstairs. Peering up the stairs, I saw someone in a health department uniform. Routine inspection, the man was saying. We'll need to see everything, including any food storage areas on the premises. My heart raced. Richard and Grace were at the restaurant. Only Kevin was home, and he looked panicked. The basement, the inspector was asking. Yes, we need to check all food storage areas in the building. That's just personal storage, Kevin said quickly. Still need to see it. You'd be surprised how often we find commercial overflow in residential spaces. They came downstairs, and the inspector, his badge read Marcus Liu, stopped dead when he saw me. 7.5 months pregnant, pale, thin except for my belly, sitting next to a mini-fridge full of expired food. Are you all right? He asked. She's fine, Kevin said quickly. Just my wife. She's on bed rest. Marcus opened the mini-fridge and his expression changed. He pulled out container after container, checking dates, taking photos. The milk that had expired 3 weeks ago. The green-tinged lunch meat. The yogurt growing mold. Is this what you're eating? He asked me directly. Kevin tried to intervene. She's very particular about her food. I asked her, Marcus said sharply. He looked at me with kind eyes. Please answer honestly. Is this what you're being fed? Yes, I whispered. Marcus pulled out his phone. I need backup at this location. And call the police. This is ridiculous. Kevin sputtered. You can't. Sir, I'm seeing a pregnant woman being fed expired food while living in a basement that, frankly, doesn't meet habitability codes. This fridge is full of spoiled food. That's neglect at minimum, abuse more likely. Within an hour, our house was swarming with officials. Police, social workers, health department supervisors. They documented everything. The moldy walls, the expired food, the lack of proper heating. They took my statement, looked at my photos, reviewed my hospital records that Dr. Hernandez had, apparently, flagged in the system. But the real shock came when Marcus made a call to his supervisor. You need to see this, he said. The Rosewood Bistro owners are doing this. Yes, that Rosewood. We need to inspect the restaurant immediately. Kevin went white. You can't. The dinner service is cancelled, Marcus said firmly. I learned later what they found. The same disregard for food safety that Richard and Grace showed at home extended to their restaurant's back areas. While the main kitchen was spotless for show, the secondary storage areas were nightmares. Expired products relabeled. Temperature logs falsified. Food that should have been discarded being reserved for staff meals. The investigation revealed that Richard and Grace had been cutting corners for years, using their reputation to avoid scrutiny. But when investigators found evidence that expired food from the restaurant was being brought home and fed to me, documented through delivery logs and security footage, it became a criminal matter. The headline in the local paper was devastating. Award-winning restaurant owners charged with abuse of pregnant daughter-in-law, health violations. The story went viral. Food bloggers who'd praised Rosewood published retractions. The health department released their findings, showing years of violations that had been covered up. The restaurant was immediately shut down. But the personal vindication came during the legal proceedings. Grace, standing before the judge, tried to justify it. She wasn't contributing financially. We were teaching her responsibility. The judge, a woman named Patricia Santos, looked at her with undisguised disgust. You fed expired food to a pregnant woman while eating fresh meals yourself. You endangered your grandchild. This isn't about responsibility, it's about cruelty. Richard lost his temper. That girl trapped our son with this pregnancy. She deserves to be poisoned. Judge Santos interrupted. Mr. Morrison, you've just confirmed the prosecution's claims about malicious intent. Kevin tried to claim he was also a victim, that his parents controlled him. But the prosecutors had his texts, messages to his mother laughing about me gagging on expired milk, jokes to his father about teaching me my place. The sentences were harsh. Richard and Grace got 3 years each for aggravated assault and endangerment. The restaurant license was permanently revoked. They were bankrupted by lawsuits from former customers who realized they might have been served questionable food. Kevin pled down to a lesser charge but still got 18 months and lost all custody rights to our unborn child. The unexpected hero was Marcus Liu. He testified about what he'd seen, but more than that, he connected me with resources. Emergency housing, food assistance, legal aid. He even helped me find a job. Turns out his sister ran a non-profit supporting abused women. Nobody should eat expired food, he said simply. But making a pregnant woman do it while you eat fresh meals. That's evil. I gave birth to my daughter, Emma, in a clean apartment, surrounded by actual support. Sarah had moved closer to help. Dr. Hernandez delivered Emma personally, crying when she saw how healthy we both were. I was so worried, she admitted. When I saw your condition. Emma is 2 now. She's never met Kevin or his parents. The child support from Kevin's seized assets goes into her college fund. Richard and Grace's former restaurant is now a community center offering free meals to pregnant women in need. A court-ordered conversion that makes me smile every time I pass it. I work at Marcus's sister's nonprofit now, helping women escape similar situations. You'd be surprised how many are denied proper food as a form of control. Kevin wrote me once from prison, claiming I'd destroyed his family's legacy. I wrote back just once. Your family destroyed themselves the moment they decided a pregnant woman deserved expired food. Beggars can't be choosers. Well, prisoners can't be picky either. Enjoy your meal trays. The return address was a photo Emma finger painting, messy, chaotic, alive. Everything they tried to deny us. The Rosewood Bistro sign still hangs in my apartment, a gift from the demolition crew. On bad days, I look at it and remember that the people who fed me moldy bread while preaching about high cuisine lost everything to a routine health inspection. Marcus still inspects restaurants. He says he's never seen anything as bad as what my in-laws did since. But he always checks the basement now. Always asks if anyone else lives on the premises. Just in case. One saved life, he told me. Makes every inspection worth it. Emma's middle name is Grace, not after her grandmother, but after the grace that saved us. The grace of strangers who saw wrong and acted. The grace of doctors who documented truth. The grace of justice finally served. Fresh food isn't a luxury. It's a right. And anyone who uses spoiled food as a weapon deserves to have their entire life expire.